you want to have a decent keyboard. You just gotta work at it. No bueno for this switch. So basically this keyboard done. Whatever was I to do? I got another, what do you call it? Donor keyboard. All right, what's up? So we're gonna do a really quick video, hopefully. We're gonna talk about keyboards. So working on a computer 8 hours a day, at the office, at home, you wanna have a decent keyboard. You don't want that free keyboard that comes with your Packard Bell computer or your e-machines. You want something that's gonna feel comfortable, gonna sound good to your ears, and overall gonna be something where you can type for extended durations. So personally for me, my choice of keyboards is the mechanical keyboard. So most computer keyboards utilize what they call membrane switches. Basically it's like this silicone rubber thing over another divot that goes down, and that's how you get your input of whatever character you want to put in your keyboard. Whereas a mechanical keyboard, there's a mechanical switch. It's like a physical button that gets pushed down that directly contacts the button that you press on your keyboard. For me personally, I've been using this keyboard. This is the Red Dragon K551 mechanical keyboard. This is several years old now. Got it on Amazon about 40-50 bucks, and you know, over the years it's done a great job. You know, when I first got a mechanical keyboard, I wanted to be able to hear it, you know, the way you could always hear. I wanted that positive feedback, both to feel it and to hear it. Over the years, my tastes have changed, and my sweetheart does not quite appreciate it when I'm typing while I'm talking to her, and realistically, I shouldn't be typing when I'm talking to her, but if I'm going to type when I talk to her, I want it to be so she can't hear it. So this keyboard right here, the K551, at least the one I have, it uses a knockoff version of the Cherry MX Blue switches. The Cherry MX Blue switches are those very audible ones where you can both feel it and hear it, but with the emphasis on hearing it. So as you can tell, it's very, very noticeable. However, when it comes to the world of keyboard switches, there's so many of them. Blacks, reds, browns, whites, there's a whole lot of them. And that's just assuming you're going off of the whole Cherry MX color scheme. Or in my case, I believe it's the Otemu, which is basically a knockoff of Cherry MX. But you know, like I said, over the years, my tastes have changed. I don't want that every time. So I love this keyboard. Actually, it's actually really well built, but you know, it's too loud. What can we do? Buy a new keyboard? I mean, yeah, I could probably get one of these Red Dragon keyboards. I'm sure they make a model that uses brown or black switches, which is going to be much more quiet, or I could try switching the switches out. So on a lot of the mechanical keyboards, the switches are actually user serviceable as long as the switches that you want to put in utilize the same pin layout, which in the case of these is a 3-pin layout. Yeah, you're good to go. It's like this. You take the keycap right off. That is a blue switch. Very audible. But what's cool is this one is actually user serviceable. Ooh, I got caught on a mask. So I was thinking originally, why don't I just buy a bunch of brown switches off of Amazon and just swap them in? So the brown switches are much more quiet. I decided to go with brown. There's a whole lot of videos on the internet about the different type of switches. For the most part, you can go based on just the color, because the knockoffs, they all try to emulate the Cherry MX switches anyway. Whether or not the quality is the same, that's debatable. Probably not, but I mean, for my needs, probably good enough. But yeah, as you can see here, I was able to easily take this keycap off just like that, pops right up. And then I have a tool. You're gonna definitely want the tool that I could pop this switch out and swap in a new one. Now you do got to be kind of careful. Some of the really cheap keyboards do not have user serviceable switches. So I'm cheap. To get an entire set of the 108 or 104 layout keyboard for just the Otemu brown switches, it's gonna cost like 60 bucks total. For $30, I don't think I got enough to cover the entire keyboard. So my initial idea was to get a cheap keyboard that utilized the same Otemu brown switches and then swap those switches in, because I was looking and I could easily find cheap keyboards that utilize the Otemu brown switches for like 15-20 bucks. So I'm like, that's gonna be way more affordable than buying just the switches themselves, and I can swap in the blue switches onto that cheaper keyboard, and boom, I have two mechanical keyboards, one with the brown switches and one with the blue switches. I'll show you what happened. I bought this. It's a Rekazer. It's a cheap keyboard off Amazon. It was 20 bucks. It uses the brown switches. It wasn't half bad, but like I said, I wanted to continue using my Red Dragon. So you could tell, compare the sound. Brown switches. So I learned the hard way that some of these keyboard manufacturers, they solder or otherwise they make the installation permanent for the switches. This keyboard, the switches are not user serviceable. And I guess I should have figured that out when the switch was not coming out easily, but I just kept yanking and yanking. And eventually I got the switch to come out off of this Rakaza keyboard. And then I realized that the pins were still in the PCB. You might be able to see the holes for the pins. They got the pins still in them. So basically this keyboard done. Not happy about that. Are you kidding me? My battery is dying. So where were we? So yeah, I had this keyboard to be a donor keyboard originally for the brown switches, but not user serviceable, can't take them out. And I basically ruined the keyboard discovering that. So whatever was I to do? I did it again. I got another, what do you call it, donor keyboard. This is about $20-ish too. It is a EUSO K620 keyboard, and this keyboard, it has brown switches. The good thing is these are user serviceable. I'm gonna take out the switches from this cheap keyboard here and swap them over into my cheap keyboard over here. Actually, I already did a couple of them. This row right here, the WSAD here. The Red Dragon overall is still a budget keyboard, but it's fairly well built. The backing is actually, if I remember correctly, they said there was like metal built into the backplate. So unlike this thing, this is totally fantastic in plastic. There's so much more vibration sound on this one versus, I mean, there's definitely still some, but it's so much more pronounced on this. So I'm going to swap the brown switches from here into here, and I'm going to take the blue switches from here to here, and we're going to do that right now. So I got special tools here, got a keycap remover, and I also got these tools right here for removing the switches. This thing slides over one of the keys, pull up, boom. Gonna take out print screen. It's underneath it, pull up right there. So I'm just going to continue with that. Okay, so I got the keycaps off, and I have this tweezer type tool right here. And basically what it does, it slides underneath the switch and you literally just pull up, and that's about it. Unfortunately, I'm really cheap and I got the cheapest one, and it's not the best quality, but as you can see here, I was able to pull out the switch right there. It's got 3-pin layout. Pin here, and then I guess they consider the inside of the switch as a pin. But yeah, so I'm just gonna continue on and do that with the rest of these guys and see what it gets us. But not too bad. See, we were able to easily and quickly remove the switches there. Let me show you how to reinstall them, and then we'll go super speed. So same deal here. Take out the old keycaps, and then as we see here, I have blue switches, and same deal. Use the tool, same exact way. I've noticed this Red Dragon keyboard, the switches are much harder to get out, but they do come out. You just gotta work at it. See, like, yeah, they're so much more difficult to get out of the Red Dragon. I don't know if that's indicative of higher quality overall, but they are a pain, and there's actually a good chance that I'm gonna damage some of these blue switches removing them, just because, oh, see, like this one right here, it's already damaged, so no bueno for this switch. All right, so now I'm gonna take my brown switch, I'm gonna put it down, if I didn't damage it, I'm gonna put it down into the new keyboard. I'm gonna align the 2 holes here. As you can see here, it's got the pins, 1, 2, just line them up and then pop them in. So in that case, yep, goes right down. And then go ahead and put your keycaps back on, and they go on really, really easily. Shoot, which one's which? Uh-oh. I think the middle one is pause. The far right is screen lock, print, whatever. No, scroll, no. The left one is scroll lock, and then the right one, the far right, is print screen. But anyway, so check it out. So this whole row right here is now brown switches here. It's still there. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and do a bulk, and at the very least get the rest of these out. So without further ado, I'm gonna get to it. All right, good deal. So if I'm trying to type something without bothering anyone, but I gotta hit the spacebar. But I do still get some feedback. Not a whole lot, but I definitely get enough that I'm comfortable. Question is, do I want to leave my numeric pad as blues and then put these guys up, or am I cool just the way it is? Because basically I have everything except for function keys and numeric pad as brown switches. So all right, with that, I'm going to go meet my sweetheart. We'll get back to this. I'm gonna leave it out. All right, catch y'all on the flip. All right, so we're back. We're just gonna continue finishing off this keyboard. Swap the old one out with the new one. So I still gotta get a couple of these switches from the donor keyboard. Almost done.